So I've been running through public parks with these flags for 2 years now. And I've always been, very curious about where you all come from, what your experiences are, what your stories are, because it's clear something that I've posted at some point has resonated through experience, whether it be you went through a horrible dating experience, something cringy, a bad first date, something dark and depressing, you laugh about through humor and try to cope with, or something wholesome and joyful. So instead of doing typical Reddit reading stories today, I want to read stories from you guys that you submitted to me. A few weeks ago, I put out a call saying that I wanted you guys to submit your own stories, and my girlfriend and her brother, I'm not special. My team, my huge team, sifted through all of the stories and read them all, and they picked out 4 stories that I'm going to read right now. My blood pressure spiking, I'm gonna need some treatment. Oh. I always win worst nonviolent first date contests with this one. Good. When I was in college, a 20-year-old female, I joined a dating site. I didn't have much experience dating, and I was overly polite, so I kept getting into situations I didn't want to be in because I couldn't turn anyone down. This guy on the app started talking to me, and even though I didn't really vibe with him, I didn't want to be rude, so I responded. He asked me what I was doing that week, and I said I was working mostly. Then he asked which days, and when I answered, he said, "Okay, cool, so you be free to go to dinner with me after I get off work on Wednesday." That feels manipulative. Sorry. I didn't have an excuse, so I said, okay. We met up downtown right after his shift ended outside the restaurant he worked at, then went to go get dinner at a nearby cafe. The vibes were just off from the start. He was wearing a trench coat, and he hardly let me get a word in. He just talked constantly about how much he loved Russia. Russia? No offense, it's too cold, okay? And his ferrets without asking anything about me or even letting me ask anything about him. When we finished eating, I just wanted to be done, so I told him I needed to pick up my sister after this, but that my phone battery was low and I needed to get there before it died so I could call her and let her know I was there. The only true part of that was my phone being about to die. I swear to God, he opens up his trench coat, looks in his inside pockets, and goes, "What kind of phone do you have?" and pulls out some phone chargers. Oh my God, he's got a coat kiosk? What? What? Was he Inspector Gadget? The hell? Thankfully, this was in the early 2010s when every phone had a different charger and he didn't have one that fit mine. So he got up and left, and I tried to say goodbye outside the cafe, but he kept walking and talking back towards the parking garage I was in. I went to say goodbye at the entrance to the garage, but he kept going there too. And he got in the elevator and kept going to my car, which I was trying to get in and lock by then because I was sure this was how I died. Then he opened the passenger door, got in, and said, "You're good giving me a ride home, right?" Trust me, in retrospect, I see all of the times I should have just pushed back on all of this, but I felt very cornered at the time with him actually in my car, so I said okay. He had absolutely no idea any of this was freaking me out, so he just kept talking the whole way to his place. At one point, he asked me how tall I was. I answered, and he paused for a second before saying, "I was just wondering if I could fit you in my ferret cage." Put that joke back in your mouth, I know that he was joking. I do. I don't. But that's still an unhinged thing to say to anyone. We pulled up to his house and he still couldn't read the vibe, so he asked if I wanted to come inside, to which I finally just said no. I messaged him later and told him how uncomfortable that all was, and he apologized and we went our separate ways, but that remains the most insane thing that has ever happened to me. Wow. I'm hoping at least some of you will get this reference to, but do you remember the episode in The Office, of course, the famous dinner party episode where Michael tricked Jim and Pam into coming to his dinner party because they always said no to him, so he had to get really creative and trick them into it. Trenchcoat just did the same thing right here, dude. He asked about her work schedule, I think, purely because I think he was trying to guilt her into going on a date with him. Now, why? Why would someone do something like this? Well, because Michael Scott, he's used to hearing no all the time, and he hates it. Very dangerous group of folks who decide to do something like this, which a part of me understands and kind of feels sad about. Imagine walking through life and just walking up to people and just, hello, I'm looking for love. And every single person is like, nope, not even going to give you a chance. This dude is terrifying. But I think deep down, he's just trying to get into the car of love. He's just, unlock the door. Please take me. I'm getting old and I'm running out of time. Please, just roll the window down. I'll even jump through the window. You don't even have to make it convenient for me. I think I'm just giving too much credit to a creep right now, but you know, I'm in a good mood. Okay, it's Christmas. So, but anyway, that was a wild one.
This one is beyond dodging a bullet, lady. You just sidestepped a Simtex.
This video is sponsored by Growth Therapy. We all need help at some point in our lives, whether we're trying to heal from something, whether we're trying to improve and show up better in our relationships. The problem is, traditional therapy is getting a lot more expensive. On top of that, a lot of therapists don't take certain insurances, there's cultural mismatches, there's long wait lists, there's a lot going on. Well, Growth Therapy takes all of those headaches away. It's a modern mental health platform where you can book a licensed therapist in as little as 2 days sometimes, and you can book them on weekends and nights. You can filter therapists by identity, gender, treatment method, and more. You'll know who you're meeting up front. All of their therapists have detailed bios, specialties, credentials. All of their credentials are listed out there for you, so there's just no blind matches ever, and it's affordable. If you have insurance, most of their sessions cost just $21, with many people getting $0, just depending on their plan. And they work with over 50 different insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Look, I've been in therapy for 2.5 years now, and it's worked wonders for my life, and I feel like I understand myself a whole lot more now. So I give Growth Therapy a good old. If you're looking to do the same and you want a quicker way to get therapy, scan the QR code on screen or visit the link in my description. Next story. Ready? My ex had a threesome at his best friend's wake with his childhood best friend, whose fiance was there, and his ex. And he used my sexuality as an excuse to justify everything. Oh.
Okay, can we read these stories a little quieter? I'm in a public park and there's children around. There's a man in a trench coat and he's smiling at me, and that actually might be the guy from the first story.
Some of these you just have to get ready, you know? I, 28 female, still can't believe this happened, even years later. Let's call my ex Terry, 40 male. We were together for 5 years. We lived together, made plans, talked about marriage. I thought I knew him inside and out. His best friend, David, had struggled with drugs for years. Rehab, relapse, heartbreak. Whenever things got bad, Terry spiraled, and I ended up being the emotional anchor. Then one night, while I was away at uni, I got the call saying that David overdosed, but I couldn't get home immediately because the trains were down, so I sat there shaking and trying to comfort Terry over the phone while he sobbed. My own best friend had died a few months earlier, so I was barely holding it together. When I finally returned, I threw myself into helping him. I cooked, cleaned, stayed up with him at night, helped with funeral arrangements. That's what love meant to me. But things started to shift. Terry grew distant. His phone, which had always been open, became locked and secretive. He took it everywhere, even to the bathroom. This is my standard move now when I suspect things. Feel free to do it at home, you know, if it helps. I don't know why it would help. Then there was his childhood best friend, Elizabeth, who never respected boundaries. Flirty comments, lingering touches, constant hovering. She had a fiance, by the way, who was literally at the wake.
Somebody help. A therapist, a priest, or Oprah. How about Oprah? Does somebody have Oprah's WhatsApp? Or Telegram?
And then there was Jenny, his ex. Suddenly, she was checking in, getting nostalgic, being just a bit too interested in Terry again. He also started pushing sexual boundaries. He had very particular tastes and began testing me, using my pansexuality against me. I remember him saying, but you fancy women too. You must want to add people. The wake itself was chaotic. People drinking, crying, trying to process grief. I stayed a few hours, then left, thinking Terry needed space with friends. He promised he'd come home later. He didn't. The next day, I found out through someone else that Terry had gone off with Elizabeth and Jenny after the wake, and the three of them had slept together that night.
Why did the tectonic plate apologize to the continent? Because he realized it was his fault. Right? Because of fault lines and rock. I'm just trying to relieve the tension.
This is literally Will Ferrell from Wedding Crashers, but okay. Before that even happened, Elizabeth had stayed at his house. She slept in his bed, spooning him, playing the comforter role that should have been mine, while I grieved my own best friend and worried about him. When I confronted Terry, he didn't deny it. He said I was grieving, I wasn't thinking straight. So I left. Years later, I rebuilt my life. I became a teacher and I learned my worth. But then out of nowhere, I got an email from Elizabeth. She had married her fiance and had a baby. She asked me to be the godmother. Okay. Also revealing she wasn't sure if the father was her husband or Terry's.
Mother fornicator. Dude, hold on. This needs 2 slams.
I laughed out loud. Same. Twinning. The woman who spooned my boyfriend in my bed, who helped destroy my relationship, now wanted me to spiritually guide a kid that might belong to my ex. I didn't reply and just moved on with my life. Fast forward a few more years, Elizabeth now has 2 kids and her husband divorced her when he found out he wasn't the father. Meanwhile, I'm a mom myself. I've built a family full of love, trust, and respect, exactly what I always wanted. It's wild to think about. The people who betrayed me are still tangled in the chaos that they created, but I'm thriving, building a life that they couldn't touch. Okay. I'm leaning back for this one. My back hurts, so just accept the fact that this looks insane. Okay, your ex is Jesse Pinkman. I have no reason to believe this other than the fact that he's probably doing drugs with familiar folks who are also probably doing drugs. But he is in fact Jesse Pinkman. This story sounds familiar, not because I know the people in the story, but I lived in Arkansas my entire life, and if you know anything about that very cool state, you know that a lot of people there would love to be Jesse Pinkman's customers. In all seriousness, I'm very happy that you got out of this mess and you made something of yourself and you're finding happiness in your life. And I think this is a great lesson in karma, because you can't just keep doing stuff to people, man. It's gonna come back around. You can't keep pooping in other people's toilets. Eventually, too many folks are gonna start coming around and being like, hey, this isn't my poopy, and they're gonna take it out and maybe take the poopy to a lab for testing. And then boy, this is a terrible analogy. Let's move on. You okay? Okay, last one. This is a friendship dilemma, something we all got to come together and solve for one of our fellow folks. So here we go. I'm using the name Jenga. I'm using the name Jenga because I don't want my real name out there. I've had a friend for many years. Let's call her Brav. Boy, wonderful choice of fake names here. Brav. We met at the barn where I board my horse, and I've always been sort of a friend/mentor to her since I'm 15 years older. She struggled with suicidal episodes, and I've always been there for her, answering calls in the middle of the night, contacting her mom, even sending my fiance over when I couldn't be there. We bonded through horses and hung out a lot. She supported me through my breast cancer diagnosis and surgery, and she was even in my wedding. When I couldn't ride during recovery, she rode my horse for me. I also gave her odd jobs, helped with gas money, and overall just really cared about her. This year, it all changed, and I don't even know what happened. I asked her to watch our pets when we went out of town one day. She had watched them before and had always done great. They all knew her, so we had no issues. My dad has an older dog that has seizures on occasions and is on meds, but he's very hesitant to be away from her, so he offered to pay her hourly rate if she took a half day at work to come and stay at my house with our pets and his. She agreed, but at the last minute said if we wanted her to stay there at all times, she'd need $40 more.
Brovalina, or Brovaline. Does anybody know what Brav is short for? Can we look that up on Google Gemini or?
I was tight on money, but had to agree because it was 2 hours before I left. I had to borrow money from my best friend and told my husband in the car that I was in a jam because of this, but didn't want to add pressure to him since he was already stressed about the trip. So after 24 hours, literally 24 hours, she made $210 and left to go do her own thing for the weekend. All fine, but obviously I was a bit upset about being blindsided about the extra money, but I was trying to let it go. Later, we talked about different mouthpieces for my horse, and when she offered to ride him to try one out, I told her no because he'd been lame for months and my trainer had a slow rehab plan, and there's some texts. Would it be okay if I swung by there and just hopped on him bareback with it? I think Kristen is riding him today. We're taking things really slow with him right now, so I'd prefer you just not yet. I'm sorry, we're just bringing him back super slow. We tried riding normally and he was lame again for a few days. If he's lame this often, have you considered it a sign to retire him? He's not there yet. He's just not a spring chicken anymore. He was ridden hard after being lame for a few months due to an abscess, so he was sore. I talked to Kristen about it, and we had a plan. I'll probably have to get his hocks ingested. How long was he lame and off work? Most of the summer. It took a while to blow the abscess out the side of his foot. I don't know what to tell you. I know what I know, but you have a plan laid out already. We do. We're just working on it right now. I appreciate your concern and your help. I will let you know when we're out there and ready to try a bit. You can figure it out. What does that mean?
Something is afoot and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I can definitely put a toe, right?
It must be cold out there. Somebody Cut-a-tude. Then about a month later, Jinga says this: what are you doing Friday night or Saturday? Wondering if you want to watch really bad movies. I have no idea yet. Okay, is there anything I can do to make our relationship better? I feel a big disconnect lately. If you want space, I'd understand. I also know you're busy, so if I'm reading too much into it, let me know. I've just been so busy here lately, I haven't wanted to think about anything. I had a horse come up lame, and I'm just tired. I'm so sorry you had one come up lame. I don't blame you for being tired. Your work schedule and showing, and then one pulling up lame is exhausting. Oh yeah, poor girl. Not fun. No, not at all. I'm sorry. It's part of it. Part of what? Never mind. I just got it. Brain not braining. You'll have that. Brain farts? Yes. Is this because I'm old? No. Lol. Okay, thanks. I feel like my brain is scrambled.
Okay. Why are frogs always so happy? Because they just eat whatever bugs them. Yes, I know. Thank you. I'm aware. I'm aware of my talents.
Around this time, she had given me a small bag of change to cash for her, maybe $15 to $20. I'd been extremely busy and hadn't gotten to it. She didn't seem bothered at first, and we continued texting, though she got shorter and less responsive. Then 2 weeks later, she texted this: hey, just keep that bag of change and don't worry about it. No, I'll get it to you. I'm sorry. I've been running around like a chicken with no head. I'm sorry. I don't even care about it anymore. Just keep it. It's just money. Sorry, I got distracted. I fucked up. If that's how you feel about it. I didn't mean to make you mad. I'm not mad, not in the slightest, just tired. Not in the slightest. Sorry. Did the race go good? Thank you for not being mad. Totally understand being tired. No idea what is in the air lately, but everyone is dragging, I feel like. I'm tired and I don't want to keep talking to people tired. Understood. Talk to you later. A few days later, she says, thought I heard penis juice in a song. It's Jesus juice, but that got me thinking, is penis juice the same thing as baby gravy?
Well, why did the moon skip dinner? Because it was already full.
I say this as I'm passing a church on a Sunday. What a turn this is suddenly taken. Is penis juice the same thing as baby gravy? It is. There we go. That's a cool thing to have on my search history. Okay. Then a friend asked me to help her daughter's ride since the usual person wasn't available. When I got to the barn, I saw Brav riding her horse. I stepped outside to talk to her as she was loading up, and she completely ignored me. She shut the trailer door, walked around me, got in her truck, and left without a word. Keep in mind, this is like a month and a half after the first incident. Okay, I have no idea what I did to deserve you ignoring me. I have tried to be patient and nice. I guess text me if you ever stop hating me. I didn't deserve that, and no, this will piss you off, but it needed to be said. If you haven't heard from me, it's because I don't want you to hear from me. What did I do to deserve this? I get that you don't want to talk, but I didn't do anything to you. It's more of what you didn't do. I have helped you time and time again, and the one favor I ask, you can't do. You're always talking about how tired and stressed you are when everything on your plate, you out there, and then it just cuts off. I guess she's tired and stressed and fell asleep mid-text. What didn't I do? I'm sorry about the change. I'll do that before I leave. I have been there for you countless times as well. You want to throw the relationship out over a bag of change? I don't give a fucking shit about the change. I don't know why I'm picturing her saying it like that. Keep it. I don't fucking care anymore. I'm out here because Kristen is in Tulsa and the kids wanted to ride. They had someone coming out and she bailed, so she asked me to come out. Okay, if this isn't about that, then what? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk to you. When I say I'm tired of trying to find conversation. So this is it then? You just aren't going to talk to me again? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows?
Oh my God, is mending this friendship just a game to you? Brovalina? What are you, the host of Heel or No Heel?
I know I dragged my feet cashing the change, but it's such a small amount of money and I've been busy. Part of me doesn't want to do her any favors after how she treated me, but I'll probably just cash it and Venmo her so I don't owe her anything. My question, did I actually screw up by not cashing the change fast enough, or is she being petty because I told her she couldn't ride my horse and then took too long with the change? I feel like I'm being made out to be the bad guy over something so small, and I can't believe a friendship would end over this, but I genuinely don't know what I did wrong. All right, I'm leaning back again. So, sorry. In all seriousness, though, I've had several bouts of depression in my life. When I was 18, I tried to take my own life, and then I had a friend in middle school tried to take his own life. I unfortunately have experience in this area, and depression, suicidal thoughts. They're just very, very isolating feelings, and anything that really reminds you of isolation, just, it hurts. It hurts like all all hell. People are going through stuff like this, these isolating feelings. They really, really want to know that they're needed, and they want to know that they have support as well. So much so to the point where they will actually misconstrue things and take things out of context and just misunderstand something. Because when you're going through something like this, your judgment is impacted quite a bit. I know I was guilty of some petty stuff like this when I was in my younger years. What's her name? Bruv to me seems similar. Like when she offered to ride your horse, I think she really wanted to feel like she was valued. She wanted to help and like give her input, and you'd be like, oh, thank you. You helped me with my horse. Thank you. Thank you so much. But I think that's why she was like, what'd she say? You can figure it out. That's what she said. Basically saying, fine, I guess you don't need me. Fine, I guess I'm no help. I'm not needed around here. So figure it out yourself. Yeah, it started there. And then like with the change thing, she was just like, oh, well, she's not there for me anymore, because she was already feeling bad about the whole horse deal. So it just snowballed really. But I don't think you did anything wrong. I think this is just a miscommunication issue, but she's not even communicating about it either. So, what can you do? I also think that she's just a very young adult, like college age maybe. And again, I know it's really hard to judge situations like this when you're going through stuff like this. I have compassion for that. I've been there, but this is pretty ridiculous on her part. At some point, you got to pull her to the side and talk to her about it. If she gets real defensive about that, maybe make it fun. Make a little paper airplane note and just I don't know what that is. Throw it at her. And then when she opens it up, it'll be like, hey, can we talk real quick? Hee. Yeah, something, something fun. You'll figure it out. But I do hope you guys' friendship can be resolved. This would hurt my feelings real bad if I had a friend I really care about and our relationship ended over something like this. Also, by the way, why is she making you cash $15 to $20? Why can't she do it? That part I don't fully understand. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. If you want to hear some Reddit stories, click the box in the top left-hand corner, and I will see you over there. And also, let me know if you guys want me to do this again. I'm curious, and I would like to keep doing this. Let me know if this is something you guys are interested in, and if you want to submit stories, please visit the link in my description to get the email and the link for direction on how to submit your stories. That is my time. Toodles.